Now let's discuss this letter that Congress wrote to the chairman of the SEC, Gary Gensler, urging him to approve Bitcoin ETFs immediately. Keyword, immediately. That means stop pushing it back, Gary, or you're going to be in a serious amount of trouble. Just saying. So 4 members of the U.S. Congress are requesting Gary Gensler to immediately approve the listing of a spot Bitcoin ETF. That's right. In a September 26th letter to Gensler, U.S. Representatives Mike Flood, Wiley Nickel, Tom Emmer, and Richard Torres claimed that the SEC was discriminating against spot Bitcoin ETF products. Facts, citing the legal precedent set by Grayscale Investments in a winning review of its own ETF offering. The 4 lawmakers told Gensler there was no reason to continue to deny spot crypto ETF apps following the Grayscale court decision, which ruled the SEC's reasoning was arbitrary and capricious, and in having already approved investment vehicles tied to Bitcoin futures. In fact, I want to actually read you the actual letter coming from Congress. I shared this yesterday and it started going viral. It got 95 hearts already and 26 retweets. And here's what the official letter from Congress to Chairman SEC had to share. I'm going to be reading this out loud for you. Here we go. Congress on the United States, Washington, September 26, 2023, to the Honorable Gary Gensler, Chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Here we go. Dear Chair Gensler, we write to ensure the Security and Exchange Commission does not continue to discriminate against spot Bitcoin ETFs. The SEC is responsible for making certain that products that comply with investor protection standards are made available to the investors. This position was affirmed 3-0 by the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia last month in the Grayscale versus SEC. The circuit court upheld Grayscale's position that the SEC violated the Administrative Procedures Act when denied Grayscale's app to convert the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust GBTC product to a spot Bitcoin ETP. In its decision, the Court of Appeals held that Grayscale's proposed Bitcoin ETP is material similar across relevant regulatory factors to the approved Bitcoin future ETPs. It further found the SEC's unexplained discounting of the obvious financial and mathematical relationship between the spot and futures markets falls short of the standard for reasoned decision-making. The Court of Appeals concluded that in the absence of a coherent explanation, this unlike regulatory treatment of the products is unlawful. The court's findings underscores the fundamental point. A spot Bitcoin ETP is indistinguishable from a Bitcoin futures ETP. Thus, the SEC's current posture is untenable moving forward. During your time at the SEC, you have consistently stated that digital asset firms should come in and register with the SEC. Market participants have relied on your statements and have filed applications for a regulated spot Bitcoin ETP. And following the Court of Appeals decision, there is no reason to continue to deny such applications under inconsistent and discriminatory standards. A regulated spot Bitcoin ETP would provide increased protection for investors by making access to Bitcoin safer and more transparent. Congress has a duty to ensure the SEC approves investment products that meet the requirements set by our Congress. And to that, we urge you, and he continues, let me finish this letter here, right here, to approve the listing for spot Bitcoin ETP immediately. We appreciate your attention in this important matter. So there you have it, fam. What are your thoughts on Gary Gensler continuing to push back and kick the can for anything related to a spot Bitcoin ETF, and in which the SEC has been disapproving and pushing back for the past decade, while at the same time approving Bitcoin futures ETFs, which are clearly not in the investors' best interest? Do you think this pressure from Congress will light a fire under Mr. No Clarity Gary's butt and get him to take action and finally approve a Bitcoin ETF sooner than later? Here's what we do know. We're soon entering 2024. We know it's a Bitcoin halving around the corner, roughly 6 months out, scheduled to take place in April of 2024. We also are likely to get these spot Bitcoin ETFs approved, especially with all the pressure coming on the chairman of the SEC. So I feel it's inevitable. I think 2024, we're in for the ride of our life. I think it's going to be a hell of a year and a hell of a Bitcoin bull market. But what's your thoughts, fam? How longer do you think they're going to be able to continue to push this back before we finally get the green light on approval? Let me know, fam. Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below.